Welcome to the TLDR episode 2, TLDR FC Football Club. You know, whatever. Dude. What is going on right now? This is only our second stream, and we're already hitting the struggle bus. But
no, we are driving the struggle bus. Yeah, and we're getting it right.
Yeah. You know, you gotta. If you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
Does that make any sense? I don't think it does. We're live.
This is going to be hilarious, though, because we're going to edit out, like, when it's just audio, if you guys are listening to this on Spotify or YouTube later, the whole first half is going to be gone. So this intro is going to be hilarious because you'll be like, why are they're coming in with some energy?
They're hot and they're kind of loosey-goosey, but,
yeah.
You know.
We had some slight audio difficulties to start.
Slight, as in none at all. Yeah. We didn't have any audio.
No biggie.
Now
we're right back, and now we're here. Now this is the official start of episode 2 of TLDRFC.
That's right.
Hello. What's your name?
I'm Danny.
Hey, I'm Casillas.
Your name is Casillas?
I am Casillas.
Oh, no kidding. Okay,
yeah.
Well, it's really nice to see you.
It's nice to see you.
And you know what? We're going to get right back into it.
Yeah.
So, folks, thank you so much for logging on. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, thank you for your support.
Thank you so much.
If you're joining us in the chat right now, feel free to drop in any concerns or comments.
Yeah.
Like if our audio sucks or isn't on at all, feel free to put that in there.
We're all making this podcast together.
That's right.
We need you guys.
Yeah, and we appreciate your help. So, okay, so we were just getting into a conversation about what's going on with soccer around the world.
A lot of news in the soccer world.
A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So the World Cup is coming up, obviously,
like
but
a week away.
Yeah, that's right, which
Dude,
is
I'm so hyped.
insane.
I'm so hyped.
But obviously, it's also the end of plenty of other seasons for leagues around the world, and specifically in Europe, we have an official Premier League champion.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, yeah, I like that again, dude. That's good.
Who won the Premier League?
Arsenal did.
Good.
Which,
good
you know, from my understanding, was a pretty big feat given their drought.
20-something years, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, good for them. Props to them. A lot of people hate Arsenal.
Do they? Well, I have been seeing that. I have been like, people have been hate watching or like upset about the success.
Sure.
You found out some information of why.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about, I knew that they were one of the big six, as they call them in the Premier League, which from off the top of my dome, I think it's Liverpool, Manchester City and Manchester United, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea. That sounds about right. Yeah, I believe that they are considered the big six.
Okay.
And those are the... I don't want to say that they're the most historic clubs, but they're the I think probably one would argue they're the winningest clubs.
Sure, yeah.
Or
I
at
feel
least
like
the most prominent.
Even if you have just like a passing knowledge of sports, you've heard
a lot of those names. Yeah, exactly. So, so Arsenal is kind of expected, there's obviously with the promotion and relegation of things, there's a lot of teams that are just happy to be in the Premier League,
sure,
it seems.
Yeah.
And like they would love to go on a championship run, but ultimately I think that their goal is always to there's several where their goals are just to stay alive or to make other leagues like within the UEFA, Europa League or the Champions League or whatever, anything like that, which is a whole other thing that we can get into.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, I'm happy for Arsenal. We've talked about it. We're so new to this that we have no like real ties or aggressions. Like I know that like people are upset, but then I see all the stuff of like North London just going crazy, and I can't help but be happy for them. You
Honestly,
know, like I get that like it seems like they're like the New York of London, right?
Right, where it's easy to hate on a successful historical team.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think, I looked up because like I said, I was kind of perplexed about some of their reasoning, like why they specifically got so much hate. And I think that there were several reasons. One of them being like their style of play was not as flashy and a lot more like defensive. Like I can't speak to that quite yet, but
that's what like the streets are saying.
That's what I see. I mean, it seems like, especially based on their records that they've had, and game results, that they're not very high scoring. They're more known for their defense, and there's a few other, I won't claim to butcher them, but there's a few other versions of play that people have like given them nicknames for. So they've become kind of known for that. That's slightly boring. We have another insight.
No, it's just
okay, good.
Everything's working.
Okay,
good now.
Fantastic. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And I think that because they're so big, a lot of their fan base is really intense, and so there's a lot of folks that we'll
like
pick fights and stuff.
The Knicks and NBA, and like they've made it to the finals, and now like the streets are just going crazy. That seems like what is a similar thing that's happening with Arsenal, where
Absolutely.
It's like the streets are going crazy, and now you have these other fans of teams are like, just rolling their eyes, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm happy for them, and I don't know. It's cool that they won. We talked about this. I was kind of more interested in the opposite end with the like relegation zone stuff because Tottenham Hotspurs, they were like close to being relegated, like every week was looking bad, and it wasn't until the final game of the season that they saved themselves from relegation. We talked about it last week where Arsenal not technically, like they did win the league, but the season wasn't even over because that's just how leagues work over there, where it's like they still had one more game to play the next week, but because of how the point system, they knew that they won. So that's kind of, maybe a little anticlimactic for us because we're so, states brained and stuff. And so used to like a playoff that but like, so there's the Spurs one was interesting because it did have to happen at the last day of the season and they had to like save themselves. I like you were saying with Arsenal, have no real like ties, allegiance or anything, but I did like playing Spurs on FIFA.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, like they were like the other team I like to play just because I like playing with Son. He was really cool to play on FIFA, and now he's in MLS. He plays for LAFC, so like that's really cool. But I mean, that was like my one kind of like tie to Spurs. So I think with everything that was happening with them, I knew like they were the team I knew and stuff that I was like, oh, I did feel bad because I know like that would suck if they got relegated. And it was really,
being one of the big six too, which is like kind of unprecedented.
You don't even understand like that. I mean, they probably don't even understand what that feels like because they're so used to being at the top. That it was really interesting. And I had sent you a meme of like a podium. A guy gets on a podium, gets a medal, starts popping champagne, he's going crazy, and you zoom out and he's actually in like 17th place, and it was like the Spurs. And I just thought that was so funny, because like that's
true.
Essentially what it was. They are all going crazy because they got last place, but not bad that they got kicked out.
And there was an extra layer of drama to that with their potential relegation because they are Arsenal's rivals.
That's
and
hilarious.
So like
I didn't even know that.
If that was to have happened within the same season, I don't think that they would have ever let them
and Tottenham at that point.
Yeah, that would have been awful. So yeah, I mean it's really good for them for making it through, you know. But
that's like the interesting thing about Premier League or like the leagues over there is that there's no real playoffs, but there is kind of a playoff league, right?
That's right. Yeah. So as it's missing in a lot of the main leagues, which within their specific countries, there's a combined league called the Champions League.
The Champions.
Is it Champions? Something like that.
That's really good.
Thank you. I've been practicing. Champions. Just go even higher.
Yeah, that was even better. Oh my god.
Hey. We got a new viewer. Sorry to be piercing your ears, but I appreciate it.
Jumped right in at the high pitched noises. I love it.
But yeah, the Champions League is
that final just happened.
That just happened, and that is a playoff format that is, I believe, played throughout the season, or at least the second half of the season.
Yeah, it seems like they let you go play Champions League games while the season is going on.
Yeah, I think they schedule around it because I remember like kind of following it a little bit, and they were like, oh, we're playing on a Tuesday night or whatever. I'm like, well, like it was kind of a weird scheduling thing, but yeah. So the Champions League is a combined league of all the European. I think it's technically the UEFA Championship League, which is the something European Football Association. And those teams, so obviously like Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain and like a lot of these teams that like play in their own, obviously Arsenal, as you said, they play in their own respective countries and within their own respective leagues. They are all given the opportunity to face off against each other.
Right. Well, the best of the best in their
them.
leagues.
And they qualify for it.
The Champions League because they are the champions of their leagues.
That's right. Yeah. So there's a lot of, there's accusations for certain teams, specifically PSG from Paris, like they are really known as like this like dominant team within a pretty lackluster crop of other teams, and like they seem to really focus on the Champions League and like putting all their eggs in one basket for like those games. And there's like a little bit of controversy around that about like kind of prioritizing that over your own home league,
more
exactly.
Kind of
so there is, it's not without controversy, but it does create a fascinating, kind of quote unquote best of the best scenario, at least of Europe teams or European teams facing off against each other.
With you saying that, PSG did just win
That's right.
the Champions League. They have now gone back to back.
Right.
Which is an unprecedented thing.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen often. So I guess putting their focus in Champions League is working. It is also kind of funny because we don't have a lot of soccer knowledge, but we do have some passing knowledge. PSG used to have Kylian Mbappe, who is this like phenomenal French player. He's like the best player on Team France. Played for PSG. Nothing happened while he was there. He leaves, and in the 2 years that he's been gone, they've won back-to-back Champions League. Which is
pretty unbelievable.
It could mean nothing. It could mean a lot of stuff. We don't know enough, but like that's an interesting storyline that happened in the Champions League. I also think it's funny. We, just said Arsenal just won their league, the Premier League. They were the team that lost to PSG.
They made it to the final. Yeah.
And I wonder how that must feel. I hope like maybe one day we can talk to someone from London or something to see that. Like, is it kind of like you obviously want to win both if you're in the position to win both, but like because you won the Premier League, it kind of goes with what you're saying of like, are people in Paris upset because they're only focused in the Champions League, but they never win the league in France?
Yeah.
Like, is that upsetting, or is like, oh, but we're the best of the best in this other league that like clearly that matters more?
Sure.
But then is Arsenal upset? But they're also so hyped because it's just this crazy wraparound thing that I can't really get my head around.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like it in the U.S. Is like, kind of what you're saying, like where, we, you mentioned it before, like the closest that we have is probably the new NBA Cup.
Sure.
But since there's no history to that right yet, now, it's kind of like okay, good for you, but we're still going for the finals,
Yeah.
But what's the hierarchy? Because if you're winning the Premier League, but you're not winning the Champions League or vice versa, like, are you equally happy? Are you, like it's kind of an interesting situation, and obviously like, so I guess to correct myself, the way that I was mentioning PSG is pretty dominant within their league within France.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, because they have created a team, they funnel in so much more money for their team to compete in the Champions League. Then a lot of people are like, well, this French league is not going to be competitive because you have just like one outlier that's going to win everything,
Yeah. Like,
and
like,
there's
everyone's just playing for second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's something to be said about that. And also like they recently, within this Champions League playoff situation, they recently were rescheduling a scheduled game that they had against I think like Lyon or whatever, one of these French teams. in order to have rest for the Champions League. And so it was like, it was very clear to show where the priorities are.
Yeah.
And I can't quite blame them there because it does seem to be like the bigger prize.
Sure.
Ultimately, it is kind of one of those things where you're like, I don't know exactly what the right thing is, but it doesn't seem like that's, if you're not able to compete in your own league, then maybe you shouldn't have like the same rights to compete in the Champions League. Like you shouldn't, that shouldn't be like it's like dessert before, dinner or whatever.
Right. Wow. No. Yeah.
And I say that with a PSG hat on.
No, that's true.
So I was really happy for them, and I really like the team that they have and stuff. But when it comes down to like the actual competition format, it does create a lot of questions within the Champions League. Though that is really fun to see because they are like competing for something.
Sure, yeah.
They're not, and this is not to say I do not follow them that adamantly, especially during their regular season. This is not to say that they are absolutely unbelievably dominant in their own league, but it's kind of easy to see, you wouldn't be shocked if they are because of like how stacked their team is and how much money they put into the team. So it's that said, it's a great, enjoyable watch within the Champions League when they go up against Real Madrid and Barcelona, who are arguably Spain's version of that.
Yeah. It's almost kind of validating. Like, no, this is why we're doing it. I'm like, that's tough because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're just better than everyone in the league. You know, like,
it's kind of like the Dodgers with like the MLB or whatever. And like they're not the best at, whatever, but like it's, if they win, no one's shocked by it, because it's like they have the biggest salary cap in like MLB history, and
it's almost like I wonder if just the country of France is like whoever wins PSG second. That's
a good question.
Not PSG fans, where it's just like, hey, they're always going to be number one, so we don't really care about that. It's really whoever's number two is really the actual. I mean, obviously they're the actual champions of the league because they're the best.
Sure,
but it's kind of like. Doesn't even make sense to crown them.
It's more impressive to
to get the I don't know. It's all very I remember when I was a kid and cuz we're from Chicago, I was a big Bulls fan, and during like the Derrick Rose era, I was like 12, 13, and there would be like 1 year, maybe 2 years in a row, they got the most wins in all of the NBA. Sure. And I would be so hyped about that. But I remember my uncle being like, "Okay, cool, but like it's the finals, it's a championship that matters." Like, we could, and I'm like, it was still pretty cool that we got the most wins. And I think it's nice that other leagues in like overseas and stuff do that, where it's like you're awarded for winning the season. Winning the season matters.
Sure.
Where it's like everything over here is like. The season doesn't matter. It's all about the playoffs. Just get to the playoffs, and that's what matters.
It's so funny that you say that because there's so many times where I'll check in with the Bulls where I'm kind of like an on and off again fan with it, where I'm checking in and I'll see like towards the end of the season, there's a chance that they are making it into like the wild card, situation. Is it called or the play-in?
The
right?
Play-in. Yeah, it is a wild card.
And I see that they beat a really good team. I don't know, like. Golden State or something, and I'm like, whoa, like they beat them and they beat them by like 40.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like they might have a chance, because Golden State's been really good this year.
Right.
And then you see, they sat Steph Curry and they sat everybody because like they already made the playoffs and there's no reason to win the game anymore. So like
their spot in the seeding is solidified.
Exactly.
So it doesn't
so
matter.
It's like, well, then why did we play the game? Like obviously it mattered for the Bulls, but like they may as well just like not have shown up and just like it's just kind of bogus. And then I feel like I've been at games like that where it's like. It's a blowout and it feels good, or it's like you wanted to go and they're doing really well. Obviously, as Chicago fans, like I feel like we're it's usually the former, but but like it's a like crappy experience with being a fan and like a quarter of the games kind of don't matter whether you make the playoffs or you don't.
Right, right, and then I mean that's the thing too. It's like the regular season I feel like is for people that. Just want to go and see a good game and stuff too. And then the playoffs are more like, okay, die hard. It's harder to get in. I don't know if you saw like the Knicks are in the finals and those ticket prices are outrageous.
I can only imagine.
It's like $1,000 for nosebleeds or something. I'm being hyperbolic, but like still, I
don't know, man.
It
like
might
that
be,
sounds about right. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but like that
but
sounds right.
some like 14-year-old New York kid that loves the Knicks would love to be there, but it's just like, hey, it's a completely different thing. So it's like, okay, well, maybe in the regular season, that 14-year-old kid can go and still enjoy himself, sure. But it's still like, who knows if their favorite player is going to play.
Right.
You know, and it's just kind of like, is that even worth it? And that's why I'm like, all this stuff with like relegation and promotion and winning the league based on your score in the season. I love that stuff because that means that every game matters.
For sure.
And I think that's really cool. And I feel like nowhere else does every game matter but the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
oh my goodness. Yeah. It is
the pinnacle of it.
Yeah. And so much of it is not even just like, you know, I would be curious, and we should like get into this at some point, but like what you get paid.
Oh, sure.
And being a part of it, because obviously if you go to, you know, a Real Madrid or, you know, wherever, Arsenal or whoever, you're getting paid a significant amount. Yeah. And it's never a shock when these major teams win. It's because they have like the most revenue and they have that, you know, like, and it's like, yeah, of course they're going to, you know, lure their players over to, you know, have like an insane contract, you know.
Sure. But that way, that's why you have like Argentina. That's like an outlier because they don't have this crazy. Well, I guess now they've gotten so big in terms of the soccer team that it is given revenue, but just the country in general doesn't have the same revenue system as like in England. Or,
yeah. It's interesting. I'd be so curious to see like how that
like what's
works.
The breakdown of it.
Right. And so many, not every single player is from your country, but the majority of the team is, you know? And so it's like,
so your point is,
you can't
they just
lure a really,
too?
Exactly. Yeah. You can't lure a guy from like Ghana or whatever, you know, with like a crazy salary.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that you probably can within like under the table stuff, but it's like, it's a lot less, like that's not how the business works, you know? Or at least it's not supposed to work like that.
Right.
So,
and I mean, even just seeing World Cups in the past, like you can't help but see the passion that they have.
They're playing for their country.
Yeah, it's a deeper thing. Like there's also, we can enjoy the history from afar and obviously like we're going to get into it right now, but like I can't even imagine experiencing the history of your country's soccer team as a participant or as a potential participant, or, you know, of like, oh, I know, like imagine being a Brazilian that you're so good that you might make the team and you're like all of the past, like Ronaldo, Neymar, Pele, you know, you have all these things going through, is that you're like, I'm wearing the colors they wore. I'm playing in the tournament that they played in. Like there's just
insane.
a deeper level of pride there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And speaking of which, I mean, we should probably get into it. We wanted to go over some of the history of some of these host teams because there's a lot of history within the major folks, you know, like Spain, Portugal, Argentina, Brazil, like a lot of these major ones.
But we're going to get into it. I feel like that's...
definitely, that'll be kind of like even through just like osmosis of us like talking about it. But there's some valuable stuff that I think that and some surprising stuff that we learned about a lot of these teams. We're going over the host countries, which if it wasn't clear, are Canada, the US, and Mexico.
Yeah, this is, we talked about it last week. This is the first time in World Cup history that 3 countries will be hosting
concurrently.
Yeah. So like sometimes they'll do 2, usually it's just 1, but you know, USA, Mexico, Canada, they're so close to each other. It's all part of North America that it does make sense. Like it's not a terrible, like I think even from Chicago, it's like a 2-hour flight to 3-hour flight to Canada. Something like that. Like nothing crazy.
There's an interesting, you know, and I'm really curious to see how this, if it succeeds or if it doesn't, because as much as like we are close in our countries, you know, like wherever, it is very scattered.
Sure.
And we'll probably see that within certain, you know, group stages that they're playing in Charlotte and then they have to fly to California and then they have to fly to, you know, Vancouver or whatever. You know, it's like there's gonna be a lot of travel that a lot of these teams, you know, I'm thinking like just coming back from Italy, you know, like traveling through Italy. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. You know, But Italy is like the size of like 2 states. You know.
Oh wow.
You know,
okay.
I guess it depends on which states you're like looking at, but like it's a big country, but it's also very much like pretty condensed and pretty connected by rail, and like you can fly to these different places, but also it's just like I don't know if these players are used to going on like cross country flights, changing time zones, and like all these, you know, it's going to be interesting. The most
pressurized games.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about that.
We've got some pretty intense weather too, compared to a lot of the regions. You know, like obviously in England they talk about like a heat wave at like 82 or something, and it's like, you know, and that's not in Celsius. So, you know, I need to put that out for all of our worldwide listeners and viewers.
We've been saying soccer. So.
Yeah, exactly. They know. But like, it's gonna be a pretty drastic change, and obviously, like, you know, there's plenty of folks that are accustomed to that. But it'll be really interesting to see, because if we're hosting, you know, if there's a World Cup that's being hosted in Spain, that is still a big country, but that climate, that time zone, that, you know, like it's going to be relatively similar in pretty much every way. And so it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see the difference of that, because if you go from Vancouver to Mexico City, it's like
that's have like a brisk like 45 to 50 in Vancouver, and then like a hot 95 in Mexico City.
Right. There's a lot that could, you know, be at play. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's really cool.
But as you said, though, I mean, like we are connected as within like the North American continent, you know, just like it is going to be pretty cool to see how all these different cities represent North America like ad nauseum.
I'm happy that they're doing this attempt. I think it'll be cool. I mean, I hope it'll be cool. I'm excited to see what comes of it, but like I think this is an interesting. I mean, what is the World Cup if not bringing the world together?
Sure.
And you know, this is a continent that does have a lot of division.
Yeah.
That like this is something that can bring these countries together that share this continent. I just find that to be a good thing. So
absolutely.
I mean, we'll see. But so first, you want to start with Canada?
Yeah. Let's start top down. Shall we?
Yeah, I like it.
Go from
top down. So
up north.
Canada, this might not, well, if you don't know anything about soccer, but I think for most people, this might not be a surprise. Canada doesn't have a rich soccer history. They are obviously a hockey country. Hockey is very big in Canada, and basketball has been growing over there. I mean, SGA, 2-time MVP of the NBA.
True. I always forget he's Canadian.
And he's Canadian. So, but that being said, soccer has also grown tremendously. Team Canada, the nickname for them, you're better at French than I am.
Is it? It's in French. Okay. Is it Les Rouges?
The nickname for Team Canada is either Les Rouges or Les Rogues. And maybe this is, once we get into other countries, we'll probably see more of this, but I noticed that a lot of the nicknames are kind of based on like what they wear.
Makes sense.
So they're Rogues. I guess that's French for red. The Reds.
Yeah.
And they are a predominantly red jersey kit.
Sure. Makes
sometimes
sense.
they'll have but they'll like have the red maple leaf. Like that is like the logo of Team Canada, and just Canada in general.
Yeah.
So their first World Cup qualification wasn't until 1986. So
86.
If you remember from last week, the first World Cup wasn't until 1930. So from 1930 to 1986, there was no Canadian soccer in the World Cup.
Wow, that's really, I mean, it's not like too surprising, but that seems like a really long time.
Well, hold on to your seat. That was the last time they were in the World Cup until, oh my God, I should have put that right. The last World Cup, 2022.
What?
Yeah, so 1986 they were in. They scored no goals, did not win any games, and then did not make it back until 2022.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Wow. The 1986 World Cup that was held in Mexico, and that's where they qualified, but they could not get a goal.
Wow.
And they actually made it on the last match of qualifiers. There was like a CONCACAF tournament.
Sure.
And they beat Honduras 2-1. And they like, because, you know, sometimes with qualifiers, I guess the audience might not know, but like you can qualify pretty early on. Like if you win your first, like let's say you have to play 6 qualifying games. If you win your first 3, it's like, okay, you have to win 3 out of the 6 or something. I'm not exactly sure. There's different ones. Sure. Sometimes if you win a league or something,
you get like an automatic. Yeah.
If you win a different tournament or something. Okay. Yeah. So they won this tournament, but they barely won on the last day versus Honduras 2-1. And that was all the way in 1986. They didn't do anything. Although in 2000, Team Canada did win the CONCACAF Gold Cup, but that did not get them into
really.
It was a crazy upset.
Wow.
People don't know how they did it, but yeah, it was literally 36 years in 2022 until they got back. But by that time, they had this star, Alphonso Davies. He plays for Bayern Munich.
Okay,
he's very good. He's more of a.
I've heard that guy's name.
He's more of a defender, and in the 2022 World Cup, he scored Canada's first World Cup goal. They didn't make it past the group stage, but they finally
in
2022 they finally got a goal. But imagine for almost 100 years, Team Canada. Obviously, they'd only ever been to 2 World Cups, but that's still a crazy.
Their first goal was almost 100 years into the World Cup.
Yeah,
wow.
But you know, this year Alphonso Davies is back. He was, I think, 19 in 2022. Wow. So now,
so surprised at how young these guys are. It's insane.
It's insane. But now he's like 24, 25. He's the star of the team. They have a bunch of guys from like top leagues, and I don't know if you want to get in. You saw their lineup. You want to see?
Yeah, let's get into it.
How many MLS guys do they got?
Yeah, so here I can pull it up real quick. Let's get it up for those who are watching on the stream. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Let's jump right back into the roster.
Yeah.
So
Team Canada.
Suffice to say, there are what was it? 6? Yeah, it looks like there's 6 folks from the. I keep calling them folks for some reason. Players from the MLS that are on Team Canada as of right now. The one that I'm most familiar with is Joel Waterman, our boy from Chicago Fire. He's been on Chicago Fire for I think only about a year.
He's
more been there for a minute, but yeah, he's been great. And then of course Dane St. Clair, who is the goalkeeper for Inter Miami. To those who are here only because of Messi,
but goalie from Miami.
That's right.
The Team Canada.
Jacob Schaffelberg, who I actually do not know. He's like the same age as me.
Oh.
And then 3 guys who have very French names that we're not even going to attempt because I feel like that would just be disrespectful. Yeah. One of them's named Stefan.
One is named Mathieu, which is
and then
like the French version of my name.
Yeah, I also they could be not French, but I assume they're Canadian, and you know.
Before the audio cut, you said an interesting thing too of that Canada have both Florida goalkeepers.
That's right. Yeah,
Miami
interesting.
And Orlando.
Yeah, interesting
Maybe
situation.
they're just so tired of the Canadian cold that they're like, we're going to Florida.
I don't blame them. Yeah, I don't blame them. But, yeah. All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah, it's some more Canada stuff. So obviously they're one of the hosts. We talked about every host gets a mascot. Canada's mascot, Maple the Moose.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is.
Hold on, let me look this up real quick.
Yeah,
I need to.
Maple the Moose. He's a cutie. I like him.
Maple the Moose. All right, here, hold this for a sec.
Yeah. While you look that up, I will be as we did before, and we will do every week if we want to. We might scrap it, who knows. But I like to look on the Reddit posts of the teams that we find the history of. So the top Team Canada post on Reddit of all time is from a year ago. Do we have it up?
We have it up. So I'll just do this real quick.
There he is, Maple the Moose. I love him.
He's a cutie. I need to mention I think that he looks like he belongs to like a Disney Junior.
Yeah, they all have kind of a backyardigans feel.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
Is this new? Maple the Moose?
It's just for this World Cup, so I would imagine.
Okay, yeah.
All of these mascots.
Oh, interesting. For this World Cup. It's not their team.
Oh, no.
I see.
Remember how when we were doing the World Cup history,
I understand
every host country gets a mascot. The first, who was it? The lion. Willie.
Yeah, it was
World Cup
London, right?
Yeah.
Or England? Yeah.
They were the first country to have a mascot because they were hosting, and now we have 3 mascots because we have 3 hosts.
Would you look at that?
Yep. So the top
post
on Reddit from Canada all time was from a year ago, and it's a meme of a Prius that's on fire with the Team USA soccer logo on it, while an adult moose relaxes across the street with 2 baby mooses in an inflatable pool, and it has the score of the Concacaf Nations League third place game in the middle between the Prius and the moose, and it's when Canada beat the US 2-1. So just that's funny. I'm glad.
So that's funny. Write that down, everyone.
Yeah, they were happy
comedy.
about getting third place over the U.S.
Well, that's fun.
We're all in this World Cup together.
Right.
I have no beef with Canada. I love Canada. And then their top most recent post is a picture of a story post from Marcelo Flores. He's one of the midfielders on Canada. He also plays for Tigres in the Liga MX, but he's torn his ACL. So he was basically.
Oh, is he the guy that just?
Yeah, like
literally right here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah,
so literally yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, wow. That's why it's the most recent post that people were moving around Reddit, and
bummer.
The coach for Team Canada is Jesse March, and they'll be in Group B with Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah.
See, I'm not cultured.
No, you're fine.
Qatar and Switzerland. Should be. I mean, once we learn more about these countries, we'll have a better understanding. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Canada with the team, they got 6 MLS players. Alphonso Davies, a lot of top league players that, who knows, they could
be something
make some noise, maybe get out of the group stages for at least get another goal besides
let's
one that they have, you know.
So to this day, do they literally still only have 1 goal, or was that the first goal that they had? Do you know off the top of your
my research, that was the only goal. Maybe it was only given to me if any Canadians hear this and be like, we actually have 3 goals. I am so sorry. I know that Alphonso Davies scored the first one.
Yeah.
And if you guys have more, congrats. If not, maybe this is the year. I'm rooting for you. Don't get mad at us.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully you guys get more.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So that is Team Canada. Should we make our
let's hop to the US.
All right.
Let's cross the border.
Let's get to the US. So Team USA, their nickname is the Stars and Stripes.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, if you have any ideas as to why
boring.
But I will say I do love a USA kit. I feel like every year, USA kit, like, you know, they got the like popsicle ones. Yeah. Even this year with the way that it looks like a flag.
Wavy. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because we're from here. We got some national pride, but I like the USA kits, and you know, they're the Stars and Stripes. It makes sense that is their name.
Yeah.
Their first World Cup, they were actually participants in the inaugural one in the 1930 World Cup in Uruguay. And you're going to love this. It's where they went the furthest. They went all the way to the semifinals.
Are you to the semifinals?
But again, if we remember, there was 13 teams.
Sure, but still, I mean, I had no idea that they had even made it that far.
That was the furthest they've ever made it. And they were against Argentina, where they lost 6-1. Which it makes sense, you know, Argentina going to the final, and
that'll do it.
They lose 6-1, but hey, still, I mean, to make it to the semifinal, like, that's
pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so since they've made it to 12 World Cups, they're currently on a 2 World Cups in a row streak because I don't know, not 2022, 2018.
Yeah,
they did not make it, and so they kind of messed up their streak there. But now they're back. They're in their second straight. So hopefully they keep that going. Who knows? Hopefully they make some noise.
Yeah.
This will be their second time hosting the World Cup. Their first time was in 1994, right? Yep. And then do we want to get into the squad of the USA? See how many?
Yeah, let's take a look-see.
I know their top player, Kristen Pulisic.
Yeah, that's right. He currently plays for, I believe, AC Milan. Does that sound right?
Yep. Yes, I just saw that.
Did you see it over there?
Yeah, he's the midfielder down below a little bit. Yeah. Or no, he's a forward right there.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, he plays for AC Milan.
A lot of top flight clubs.
Yeah,
I saw a thing. This is the first year that Team USA, every player on Team USA plays for a top flight team. Top flight team.
Really?
Yeah, it has never happened before.
That seems strange to me. I feel like, you know, like even in the MLS, like that seems silly to me that they would not have more guys in that. You know, I don't know.
I think MLS is, but I guess that makes sense. Like, wouldn't they just always get? But I mean, I would imagine maybe in the past, like early 2000s, even the second league, like what's below the Premier League, the Championship League?
Oh, Champions League. Oh, yeah, true.
I'm sure that league is even better than
I didn't think
MLS,
about it from that.
But then technically that's not a top flight league.
That's so true. So, yeah, I didn't think about it from that perspective. Yeah, absolutely.
But this year, top flight, top to bottom.
That's pretty cool.
I like it.
That's cool. Good for them. Let's take a look at who's from the MLS in this team. I believe that there are 8 or there's 7. It looks like there's 7 at least listed on the Wikipedia. So one more than Canada. We got the captain of Tim Ream, who plays for Charlotte.
Got named captain recently.
Did he? Okay.
I think, maybe I just saw it recently.
Oh, yeah. Well, good for him. Really, I'm more focused on this man right over here.
Brady!
Chris Brady, a hometown hero,
yes,
who currently plays for the Chicago Fire. He just had his first call-up, his first appearance with the recent friendly against Senegal, and we can get into that. But
we'll get
didn't have the best.
He's on the team.
Yes, he is on
That's
the team,
what matters.
and also I think that overall he did a good enough job. I mean, it's unbelievable that this guy, especially if you look at his face, how is this man 22 years old?
Yeah, that's a fully
That
grown
is,
man.
yeah, like at 22 years old, I had like a little propeller hat and a big popsicle. Like I did not look like that at 22 years old.
Even, I don't know if you saw this video that the Fire posted. Again, we're from Chicago, so we get a lot of Chicago Fire stuff. But from 4 years ago in 2018, when obviously he did not get called up, but they he was talking about his dream is to one day play, and now he's made it. But even at 18, he looked older than me. Yeah. I'm almost 30 years old.
Also, and I wonder, and I just said that about myself, and I'm like, maybe I need to look in the mirror. Maybe I look way older than I really am. So maybe I shouldn't be talking, but
you have a boyish charm, though. That's the beautiful part of it.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm so glad that I've retained my boyish charm in this hellscape of a world.
I hope you retain it your whole life.
I'm gonna try.
That's my.
We got this cutie right here who plays for the Columbus Crew, Maximilian Arvston.
Okay.
I see him in the ads constantly. I don't even know if they're running them for him anymore, but the ads for U.S. versus Germany, the friendly that's coming up at Soldier Field. And he's always talking. It's so funny because you can tell that they had him do like 40 different ads all in like one take because they ask him, he's like, what's my favorite thing about Chicago? Well, it's Chicago, man. Like and I'm like, oh my God, like this guy.
He's all right there.
Yeah, good for him. Is he? I wonder where he's from. Let me look this up real quick. Is he from? Oh, he's from Fresno. Classic. Yeah. Then you got Miles Robinson, who is kind of fresh to death, honestly. Yeah. Like he looks sick, and he plays for FC Cincinnati.
Sick.
I always love seeing him. You got Matt Turner, the goalkeeper, the second goalkeeper, who is, I believe, the starting one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's gonna be.
I didn't say second as I'm listing, but he's the main one. And then you got Matt Freese, who is the slightly older, not than Matt, but older than Brady. So he would probably be the. Yeah, he's had more appointments, than Brady.
If Turner goes down, they'll probably go back and forth
between
Brady and Freese, but Freese will probably play more.
And before getting up to Roldan, I believe is how you would say his name, it's pretty cool. This is the first time that all 3 of the goalkeepers are from the MLS.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's at least... I think I read that somewhere. But it looks and it sounds right, and we're gonna go with it. But that's pretty cool. A lot of people are clowning on the U.S. team for like not getting another goalie, you know, and not seeing that. But like I only see it as like a positive. And also the way that Chris Brady has been playing and the fact that he would be like the third string, I'm like, that's pretty telling for like the other two.
You took the words out of my mouth, because I was literally going to say, as two people that have watched a fair amount of Fire this season, he holds it down.
He's been a major highlight, a great key for sure.
He really does hold it down. He was so deserving of getting the call up, and even if he doesn't play, I'm sure the lessons he learns in this one will be big for the next World Cup, which I hope he gets called up again. And hopefully at that point, I mean, he'll be 26. He should be the starter.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, if things keep going this way, because it's been pretty impressive. And I've been thinking about this a lot for like goalies, especially. I don't consider goalies to be like a very young position. I feel like you need to have a lot more reps in it. You can't just like, you've got such a different job than a lot of the other team players, and like there could be a goalie out there that completely disagrees with me and actually sees it as like a major positive to be a lot younger. Sure. But I feel like exactly. But like I feel like there's a lot of value in, you know, being a little bit older and like having more experience in the field and stuff. And so it's like, it's pretty impressive in my eyes, at least, you know, the untrained eyes, that someone this young would have made the roster, let alone like, you know, if he gets to play at all, it would be pretty sick.
Yeah, so, no, 100%. Yeah. I wonder too, so I had a fun fact for you, but maybe why there's some clowning going on of the goalkeepers that we got is because there is a history of great U.S. goalkeeping.
Sure.
And none other than Tim Howard, who is just a phenomenal goalkeeper for the U.S., that he actually broke the record for most saves in a World Cup game.
Wow.
With 16 saves against Belgium in the 2014 World Cup. I remember this World Cup. That was crazy.
That was a fantastic World Cup. That was like, I think, the one that I actually paid attention to.
Yeah, well, they made it was in the round of 16. They were it seemed like, and he was locking up everything. They had to go into overtime. Eventually, they do fall to Belgium. I mean, Belgium is a powerhouse. So it made sense, but for him to still like be out there saving everything he could, breaking the record, he got the nickname the Secretary of Defense.
Oh yeah,
which is still on his Wikipedia. That like, I think with that history, there's kind of like we should have a top tier goalie every time, and I think when you see that it's just MLS goalies, people are like, oh, well, this can't be top tier, but like you don't know what the noise they're gonna make in the World Cup gonna be.
And it's great, because I think that, you know, because this comes only, you know, once every 4 years, it's gonna give us stuff to talk about for the next 4 years. Like literally so much of sports and like why people like sports are because of like the hypotheticals,
right.
And so like this is where all of that is created.
Yeah, you know? This is the best time for it, because everything is just up in the air. Like
exactly,
you don't know.
And it'll be fun to see like, if they get knocked out in the group stages, it's like, damn, like we gotta like that's gonna set the course for the next 4 years, you know. But then if they make it to the semifinals, then it's like, damn, like in another way, you know, where it's like the
let's build
standard exactly, you know. So there's a lot to be said about, you know, all of it.
Yeah.
So.
USA just played recently. I was busy. I had to miss the game, but you checked it out.
Yeah.
How did they look?
I should say I only watched the first half in real time, and then I watched the highlights afterwards. But I had a few takeaways. One, they got off to a really quick start, which was really exciting to see. I think the first 2 goals were within the first 30 minutes, which is, in my eyes, like, you're not going to win all your games if you're the ones to like score first and like score double up on it right away, but that's like as good of a start as you can have. Like
I think a lot of these friendlies too are just trying to get nerves out.
Absolutely.
I'll talk about a game I watched later.
Oh sure.
Like, it's very similar.
There's a lot of like, you know, you don't want to look at it and take it as gospel of like what's going to happen in the World Cup, but there is also a lot of like, if you could do something like that, or if you have the, you know, kind of depth, or like guys that you're not expecting to start, but they come out in the second half and they show that they have like a lot of promise or whatever, like that is, I think, like the value in friendlies, and like something that I really enjoyed about watching the US was like seeing this depth of a team that for a long time, really up until this point, like a lot of people have been questioning, they've been saying like they really don't seem like a competitive team. They seem kind of like a bunch of pieces. Exactly. Yeah. They seem like a bunch of pieces like not fitting together. And this was the first time that I feel like there's definitely a lot to still work on, but for the first half, I was pretty impressed with like a lot of their stuff. Maybe less so defense, but like they really seem to be controlling the ball well.
Well, you were saying too. We were talking earlier about it's a minor controversy. It's not like anything huge or anything like that. But there is a player that was expected to be on Team USA, Diego Luna, who he is Mexican American, so he had the option to choose Mexico or US. He chose US, and the controversy, at least for me personally, is that US has used him in a lot of promotion, and then when it finally came time to pick the teams, he didn't get called up. So it's kind of funny that like you will see him in the USA gear and commercials and stuff, but he's not actually a part of the World Cup team. So it's just kind of weird. But you were saying that they are very deep at forward.
It kind of seems like it, at least.
Which is the position he plays. They are kind of weak at defense. They don't have a lot of defenders.
Like they didn't have that. I from my understanding, there was a lot of critiques of like the lack of depth in the defense, and it's interesting that you bring that up because throughout the game there were definitely moments where that kind of showed against Senegal. Like they have some, and Senegal has some like really good players. Like one of their main guys plays, I believe for Bayern Munich as well. But I could be wrong. But it was telling to see some of the defensive mistakes. One of those being a goal allowed by Chris Brady in the second half, but really it seemed not that it isn't his like job to stop the ball, but like the ball coming towards him, the play, the way that all like came out, there had to be like 3 mistakes for that to like even come close to him, and they all happened. And so it was a little bit like, what? How did that happen? It truly seemed confusing to me that they would have let something like that happen.
I saw that goal, and the guy was broken free. It was a one-on-one play.
Exactly.
So it's like people were trashing Brady for letting that happen, but it's also like, hey, he's a one-on-one. If he doesn't attack, the guy is just gonna shoot it and make it. Right. He attacked, the guy got past him. Like it was a bang play, and I don't think it was all on him, but I think you're right that like perhaps maybe the defense, who knows, maybe their plan is shootouts for the World Cup. And
Dude, and to shout back out, we literally were complaining about that last week. Not even complaining, that's probably a strong word for it, but talking about how we don't like when games end in shootouts and that we don't have a viable alternative, but it really does kind of suck. It feels anticlimactic. And then how did the Champions League final end? Right. But within a shootout, which was remarkable. If you haven't seen it already, you should look up the ending of the PSG Arsenal Champions League final. It is, if you want to see someone like crack under pressure.
I've been seeing things though too that like it's so funny because we just talked about it, but like people kind of like comparing it to other things, specifically basketball, where it's like, okay, imagine like you played the whole game, now you need your worst free throw shooter to make this free throw to win the entire championship. Like we would all be freaking out if like a center was going up, and like maybe that's the thing, is like they have to go, they pick their guys, but once you get to the last guy, that's essentially the like worst penalty
or whatever.
Shooter, like if it keeps going, eventually the goalie has to shoot
I'd be so curious to like look up the specific rules with that, because I truly I kind of wonder about that. I was listening to the game from the commentators, and they were talking about how like Dembele, like one of the biggest stars for PSG, who's also on Team France and one to look out for, he was taken out of the game, and it was, I think, simply because he was subbed off. It wasn't a matter of like he was injured. And because he wasn't on the field, from my understanding, like he wasn't able to take the penalty.
I have seen that. Like if you get subbed and it goes to penalties, it's not like you're back in to get which
is crazy to me. And so they were saying like, like one of their best penalty, takers is not even an option. And it's like, oh my God, like that would suck if you get to that point. Granted, he had just played over 2 hours of a game, and really.
But still, I was like, all I need to do is kick something that I can kick in my sleep. Yeah, and I can't even be out there because I got subbed off.
It's really interesting.
Super interesting.
And I wonder if you have any rules. They probably have rules to avoid them from subbing on, like, all their best players, like right at the very end before they go into penalty kicks. So I'd be curious to look that into. We'll get into that another time, but
Okay, well, I mean,
but yeah,
go USA. Good win against Senegal, and
that's right.
Hopefully you can keep that going. They are in Group D with Paraguay, Turkey, and Australia. Their coach is Mauricio.
I think it's Pochettino or Positano. Pinocchio.
Yeah.
God, literally I hear people say it all the time, and I when I read it, it like makes me. If you were to tell me to say his name, I would have probably said it like no problem. But then now that I'm looking at it, I'm like that doesn't look right to me.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Too.
So
yeah.
His first name is Mauricio.
We'll
go with that.
Mauricio is the coach. Hopefully he does good. Their last coach, Chicago Fire's current coach. So
that's right. Something I need to mention too. Here, let's look at the mascot.
The USA mascot for the
Shocker
World Cup is Clutch, the bald eagle. That's Clutch right there.
That's Clutch.
He looks clutch.
All right, he's kind of cute.
Yeah, I like him.
Whatever.
Again, they're all like backyardigan themed.
Something I need to mention about Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino, I think.
Mauricio.
Yeah, let's call him Mari. So with Mari, there's an interesting thing going on with him. One, he's not an uncontroversial figure, more so out of just like people's disagreements with how he manages the team.
Sure.
But recently hasn't been fully confirmed yet, but there is talks for him to be taking over a head coaching position at AC Milan once this season is over.
Oh, wow.
And it is because those talks are coming out before the World Cup, it is raising a lot of eyebrows and having a lot of like question marks about like where his head is at going into this game. And
then he has Pulisic on the team. So
exactly. So there's like an interesting kind of thing, so like it may be a positive, it may be a negative. It's not, I think, in my opinion, like the best thing to be talking about, like your next job going into like literally the one job that you have, like, this is the most important part. So there is definitely those conversations being had right now.
That always makes, because that happens in like other leagues, American leagues.
That's
like
right,
I think even just recently the Spurs are going to the NBA finals.
Sure.
But I think Orlando Magic just hired a Spurs assistant coach.
Yeah.
That again, it's an assistant coach, maybe their job isn't as deep in the playoffs or something that they were able. You got to get like approved to go interview and stuff. Yeah, but like you would think that they would wait
finish the season.
The season's over to even like make that announcement, but who knows? I mean, there's so much other, but I'm with you that like kind of just focus on your thing. If you got these things brewing in the background, so be it. But like, try not to get your eyes off the prize. And who knows? Maybe he's not. Maybe like at the end of the day, like the World Cup is over, and if he's jobless, that like I would feel bad. So like it makes sense, but I guess it is what it is. I had no idea that was happening though. That's super interesting.
Yeah. So there's that going into everything. So it's I guess take it with a grain of salt, but it'll be an interesting
World Cup for Team USA. So for the last thing for Team USA,
for sure.
Their top Reddit post of all time is from a year ago, and it is a quote from Tim Howard, and it says, "This is Tim Howard, doing a dance that mimics Donald Trump is stupid. Why? Because whether it's the president of the United States or my neighbor down the street, I would rather back someone who I would never back someone who I believe is racist." I almost ruined that quote for Tim Howard. I don't know. I don't know the context of that, of who was mimicking Donald Trump. I'm sure someone will get to us of like, oh, he's talking about this. But I mean, pretty cool sentiment from Tim Howard. No racism and that's
no Donald Trump. Please.
I like pretty sick. That's the
interesting.
That's the all-time post, and then the most upvoted recent post is a meme. It's Jim from The Office when he's pointing at the whiteboard. And the top one, it says it's been 1 day since we thought we were getting grouped, and it has a USA logo on the corner. And then the bottom whiteboard, it's been 1 day since we realized we're winning the World Cup. And the caption is I believe. So that's where the USA
it's coming off of a 3-2 win against Senegal.
The vibes are high.
I
believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. One of the few soccer chants I do know.
Yeah.
So
and it's like one of the most basic.
Yeah.
Like, Go team.
I know some of Mexico's, but those are getting pushed to the side for good reason.
Yeah.
And I will not be saying them on this podcast or ever again. Not to say that I ever did.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. One thing I need to shout out too is that watching that game, the U.S. Versus Senegal game friendly, the vibes were high. At
you were telling
the
me
stadium.
This. Yeah,
they were fantastic. I mean,
hear the crowd.
You could really hear the crowd, and it was really exciting to see. I was impressed with that, even though it wasn't a completely full stadium. They had some of the seats that were like blocked off. They had a lot. It seemed very full in the areas that were actually on sale, and I was thinking like, why don't you just open up the top part? Like it seems like everyone's pretty excited. Yeah, exactly. But who knows? But it was a very exciting atmosphere, especially once they had those early goals.
Sure.
So it'll be cool to see if these people are able to show up and afford the tickets. We'll see.
Oh, that's good to know. I always feel like, I mean, this is not some great analysis like, oh, teams play better when they're being supported. But I do feel like when Team USA got like the country behind them and like there's some like, because I mean, when they didn't go to the World Cup in 18, like it was rock bottom, it's like, good, like, we're still in this spot. And then they make it this last one, do not great, but not terrible. And now like, I feel like the expectations are high, and I think that usually is better for them.
For sure.
I think when the country is kind of down and is like, who cares? Which I feel like a good part of the country probably still is.
Yeah.
But I think especially with us being US being one of the hosts and the team looking pretty good in terms of like the talent that they have on the roster, it seems like people are behind it, and I think that is always good for the team.
Yeah, you can always have something to root for.
Again, this is the time that everything looks good.
Right.
This is the best time.
Yeah, it's the best time. The off season is the best season.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, that was Canada and USA. I know that we said that we were doing all three host countries. I am Mexican, and I'm very proud Mexican. I did a lot of research on Mexico.
You sure did.
And, with everything we talked about, this was just so much fun talking about all this stuff.
Yeah, we got to devote way more time to Mexico. We can't rush this. So
yeah, and then we might add, like, we'll look at the schedules, maybe see who they play.
Yeah.
And then next week, we're going to get into some history of Mexico, the third host country, and another country, get some more into the history of those.
Some more bonus info.
And by that point, World Cup will be when's
right around the corner.
Yeah,
I think it starts. It's June 11th, so it'll be starting that Thursday.
Okay, so we'll have one more episode before the start of the World Cup,
at the very least.
Yeah. We'll talk about Mexico. We'll get into it. I know you guys are excited. I'm excited. And then we'll talk about another country and get into that.
Yeah, and we might have some bonus content along the way too.
We love bonus content
involving some, aesthetics of the game and stuff.
Yes, sir.
So you'll have to keep your eyes peeled for that. So, thank you so much to everyone who is watching on YouTube, anyone who's listening at home on Spotify.
If you were watching
Apple
on
Podcasts.
On YouTube, sorry for the technical difficulties.
We appreciate your patience. I mean, this is my only first time like dealing with this microphone with the different transitions.
We're learning.
We're working out the kinks,
If you're listening to this just audio format tomorrow or whenever, everything went super smooth and there was no problems whatsoever.
That's right. That's right. I'll second that. Yeah. Yeah. Everything was perfect. And you're actually acting kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't know why I said
crazy.
that. I'm weird sometimes.
But thank you again for watching and or listening. Make sure to follow TLDR FC or Football Club on Instagram, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Subscribe. And if you have a like, if you have a comment, if you have anything to say, even if it's hate, then feel free to let us know. We'll talk, you know. If you need to air any grievances, just let us know. So thank you again for your support, and we'll see you in the next